Commander Elena Rodriguez stood at the helm of the USS Athena, her fingers hovering over the holographic controls as she studied the massive Kraxan warship through the quantum imaging array. The vessel's obsidian hull absorbed nearby starlight, making it appear like a hole in space itself. But Elena wasn't focused on its intimidating appearance, she was counting on it. "Status of the deception protocol," she asked, her voice steady despite the tension crackling through the bridge. Lieutenant David Chen looked up from his station, neural implants gleaming under the ambient lighting. "All systems ready, Commander. The quantum echoes are aligned and waiting for your command." The Athena wasn't humanity's largest ship, or its most heavily armed. Instead, it was something entirely new, the first vessel designed specifically to exploit the psychological weaknesses of alien species. The Kraxan Empire had spent millennia perfecting their military doctrine, making them predictable in ways they couldn't even recognize. "They're hailing us," announced Communications Officer Maya Patel. "Standard Imperial format. They're demanding our immediate surrender." Elena smiled. "Perfect. They're following the script. Begin Phase 1. The Athena's revolutionary quantum echo generators sprang to life, creating thousands of false sensor readings throughout the nearby space. To the Kraxan's highly advanced scanning systems, it would appear as if dozens of human ships were phasing in and out of reality, an impossibility according to known physics. "Their targeting systems are going crazy," David reported, excitement creeping into his voice. "They're detecting phantom energy signatures everywhere. Their combat computers can't establish a baseline." The Kraxan warship's response was predictable, it began powering up its main weapons arrays. Their entire military doctrine was based on overwhelming force and perfect targeting. When faced with an enemy they couldn't properly target, they defaulted to their most powerful weapons. "Phase 2, Elena commanded. Deploy the thought seeds." Hundreds of tiny drones, each no larger than a human hand, launched from the Athena's hull. These weren't weapons in any traditional sense. Instead, they carried specially designed quantum transmitters that could interface with the crystalline neural networks the Kraxan used to coordinate their ships. "Thought seeds are in position," Maya reported. "Beginning cultural infiltration sequence." The drones activated, broadcasting carefully crafted mental images directly into the Kraxan's command network. Images of ancient human warriors, myths of shapeshifters, stories of beings that could bend reality itself. The Kraxan's rigid military hierarchy had never encountered psychological warfare on this scale. "Their command structure is fragmenting," David announced. "Individual commanders are reporting different threats. Some are seeing an armada, others are detecting temporal anomalies, and a few are reporting impossible energy readings." Elena watched as the massive Kraxan vessel began to move erratically, its perfect military precision crumbling under the weight of conflicting information and induced uncertainty. This was humanity's greatest advantage, not superior technology or firepower, but the ability to think beyond conventional warfare. "They're charging their main cannon," Maya warned. "Energy readings are off the charts." "Exactly as predicted," Elena replied calmly. Execute Phase 3. The Athena's quantum echo generators shifted frequency, creating a perfect mirror image of the Kraxan vessel itself. When they fired their primary weapon, their own targeting systems would register their ship as both the source and destination of the attack. The space between the ships lit up as the Kraxan fired, their energy beam distorting as it passed through the quantum echo field. For a moment, it seemed to bend back on itself, creating a loop of destructive energy that forced their safety systems to shut down the weapon. "Their primary weapons are offline," David reported. "The feedback loop worked exactly as designed. Their secondary systems are trying to compensate, but they're completely disoriented." Elena opened a communication channel. "This is Commander Elena Rodriguez of the USS Athena. Your weapons are disabled, your command structure is compromised, and your crew is experiencing varying degrees of tactical uncertainty. We can maintain this situation indefinitely, or we can talk." The response came after a long pause, the Kraxan commander's translated voice carrying an unfamiliar tone: confusion. Your tactics, they violate every principle of warfare we have known for 10,000 years. This is not how combat should be conducted. That's precisely why it works, Elena replied. Humanity doesn't fight according to anyone's rules but our own. We've spent our entire history adapting, improvising, and overcoming. Did you really think we would stop just because we reached the stars? Another pause, longer this time. Elena could imagine the chaos on the Kraxan bridge as they tried to reconcile their military doctrine with what they were experiencing. We will discuss terms, the Kraxan commander finally responded. But the Empire will not forget this. You have changed the nature of warfare itself. Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the pride in their eyes. This was why the Athena had been built, not to destroy enemies, but to force them to reconsider everything they thought they knew about combat. That was our intention, she said. Welcome to humanity's version of warfare. We look forward to your evolution. As the Kraxan vessel powered down its remaining weapons, Elena knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ships, it was their ability to think differently, to change the rules of the game itself. The USS Athena had just written the first chapter in a new era of galactic warfare, and Elena Rodriguez had a feeling the story was far from over. Dr. Lyra Patel stood before the holographic display in the neural integration chamber of the Luna Research Station, watching as the first human-AI hybrid combat system came online. The crystalline neural interface pods pulsed with a soft blue light as 20 volunteer pilots synchronized their consciousness with the quantum artificial intelligence network. Neural sync at 97% and climbing, announced her colleague, Dr. Marcus Way, his fingers dancing across the haptic controls. The quantum mesh is stable and expanding. 3 months had passed since the USS Athena's revolutionary encounter with the Kraxan Empire, and humanity had not wasted time. The Kraxans' response to their defeat had been predictable, they began developing countermeasures against quantum echo technology. But humanity was already 2 steps ahead. Show me the mesh visualization, Lyra commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing an intricate web of light that represented the combined neural patterns of human pilots and AI systems. It was beautiful, organic yet structured, like a living constellation. The Kraxan fleet has been detected entering the Theta sector, Marcus reported. 6 capital ships, all equipped with their new anti-echo technology. Lyra smiled. They're fighting the last war. Begin the demonstration. In space around Luna, 20 small fighter craft activated. Unlike traditional ships, these vessels had no physical controls. Their pilots lay in neural pods, their minds directly connected to both their ships and the quantum AI network that bound them together. Neural sync at 99%, Marcus announced. The mesh is fully formed. Through the observation windows, Lyra watched as the fighter squadron moved in perfect synchronization. But this was no rigid military formation, the ships flowed like a school of fish, their movements guided by both human intuition and AI calculation. Launch the combat drones, she ordered. A swarm of automated attackers emerged from a nearby hangar, their programming designed to mimic Kraxan combat tactics. They were equipped with the latest counter-echo technology, designed to defeat humanity's previous advantages. The human-AI hybrid squadron responded instantly, but not as individual ships. The quantum mesh allowed them to function as a single entity, 20 human minds and 20 AIs working in perfect harmony. The fighters split apart, reformed, and moved in patterns that seemed to defy physics itself. The mesh is predicting attack vectors with 99.9% accuracy, Marcus reported, excitement evident in his voice. The AIs are processing tactical data and feeding it directly into the pilot's neural streams. The combat drone's sophisticated targeting systems couldn't lock onto the hybrid squadron. Every time they established a firing solution, the human pilot's intuitive understanding of space and movement, amplified by AI processing power, had already moved their ships to new positions. "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Kraxan fleet," Marcus announced suddenly. "They're requesting visual access to the demonstration." Lyra's smile widened. "Grant it. Let them see what they're really facing." The observation chamber's displays showed the Kraxan ships holding position at the edge of the Theta sector. Their sensors would be recording everything, analyzing every movement of the hybrid squadron. But they were trying to understand a fundamentally new form of combat using outdated paradigms. "Their tactical officers must be having fits," Marcus commented. "There's no logic to these maneuvers, no pattern they can predict." "That's where they're wrong," Lyra replied. "There is a pattern, it's just not one their computers can recognize. It's the pattern of human creativity combined with artificial intelligence. It's the pattern of evolution itself." The demonstration continued as the hybrid squadron systematically dismantled the drone attackers. Not a single shot was fired, the drones simply couldn't hit targets that moved with such organic unpredictability. It was a dance more than a battle, a demonstration of humanity's next leap forward in combat evolution. "Neural load on the pilots?" Lyra asked. "Minimal," Marcus replied. "The AI integration is handling 90% of the tactical processing. The pilots are providing intuition, creativity, and strategic oversight. It's a perfect symbiosis." The quantum mesh had taken humanity's greatest strengths, adaptability, creativity, and unpredictability, and amplified them beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. The rigid, predictable combat doctrines of species like the Kraxan were about to become obsolete. "Demonstration complete," Marcus announced. "All combat drones neutralized. 0 casualties, 0 collateral damage." Lyra opened a channel to the Kraxan fleet. "This was just a small demonstration of humanity's new combat doctrine. We call it neural combat, the perfect fusion of human intuition and artificial intelligence. Your anti-echo technology is impressive, but as you can see, we've already moved beyond it." The response from the Kraxan commander was slow in coming. When it arrived, the translated voice carried an unmistakable tone of awe and concern. "This is not warfare as we understand it. Your ships move like living things, your tactics defy prediction. How can we fight an enemy we cannot understand?" "That's the point," Lyra replied. "You can't. So perhaps it's time to consider a different approach. Humanity is willing to share this technology, to help the galaxy evolve beyond traditional warfare. The choice is yours, adapt with us, or be left behind." As the Kraxan fleet retreated from the Theta sector, Lyra turned to Marcus. "Send the demonstration data to the Galactic Council. They need to understand that the rules of warfare aren't just changing, they're being rewritten entirely." The pilots began emerging from their neural pods, their eyes bright with the lingering connection to the quantum mesh. They had just demonstrated that humanity's path to galactic supremacy wouldn't be through superior firepower or advanced technology alone, but through the unique combination of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. The age of neural combat had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Ambassador Kai Chen stood in the center of the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, a vast spherical space that seemed to float among the stars themselves. The chamber's transparent walls offered a breathtaking view of the Andromeda Galaxy, but none of the assembled representatives were admiring the view. All eyes, and various other sensory organs, were fixed on the holographic display showing footage of humanity's neural combat demonstration. "This is an abomination," thundered High Commander Vexthor of the Kraxan Empire, his crystalline form pulsing with angry red light. "The humans have violated every sacred principle of warfare established since the Great Concordat." Kai remained calm, his expression neutral as he watched the footage of the human-AI hybrid squadron dancing through space. Around the chamber, representatives from over 300 species shifted uncomfortably in their environment-controlled pods. Some showed signs of fear, others curiosity, and a few, particularly the synthetic species, displayed what could only be described as keen interest. With respect, High Commander, Kai responded, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's universal translators, humanity never signed your Great Concordat. We were not even aware of its existence until 6 months ago. Our methods evolved from our own history, our own necessities. From the highest tier of the chamber, a massive being of pure energy pulsed with interrogative patterns. The archive species rarely spoke at council sessions, preferring to observe and record. Their intervention now signaled the gravity of the situation. We have accessed the historical records of Earth, the archive's thoughts translated into words. Humanity's combat evolution follows a logical progression based on their planetary development. They have always favored adaptation over tradition, innovation over established doctrine. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices as various species argued about the implications. Kai noticed the synthetic collective's representatives communicating via rapid light pulses, clearly intrigued by humanity's integration of AI into combat systems. Order, demanded Council President Zaraval, her bioluminescent tendrils flaring. Ambassador Chen, your species has demonstrated capabilities that fundamentally alter the balance of power in our galaxy. The neural combat system, combined with your previous quantum echo technology, makes human forces virtually untouchable by conventional means. That is correct, Kai acknowledged. And that is precisely why we're here. Humanity doesn't seek dominance, we seek evolution. We're willing to share our innovations, to help the galaxy move beyond the need for traditional warfare. A harsh laugh echoed through the chamber. Share your weapons, you mean? Vexthor sneered. Make us dependent on human technology? Not weapons, Kai corrected. Understanding. The neural combat system isn't just about military advantage, it's about breaking down barriers between organic and artificial consciousness, about finding new ways to solve problems that have plagued our civilizations for millennia. The archive species pulsed again, projecting a complex series of calculations into the shared consciousness of the chamber. Analysis indicates a 78.3% probability that widespread adoption of human combat innovations would lead to a fundamental restructuring of galactic society. Exactly what we fear. Vexthor declared. These humans would destroy thousands of years of stable civilization with their chaos. Kai turned slowly, addressing the entire chamber. Change is not destruction. Evolution is not chaos. Humanity reached the stars less than a century ago, and in that time we've seen countless examples of species bound by traditions that no longer serve them. The galaxy is changing, whether we wish it or not. A soft chime indicated a new arrival to the chamber. All attention turned to the entrance as a figure emerged from a swirling portal of light. The timekeeper had arrived, the rarest and most mysterious of the archive species, said to perceive time itself differently from other beings. The humans speak truth, the timekeeper's thoughts resonated through the chamber. We have observed many potential futures. Those who cling to the past face extinction. Those who embrace evolution survive. The chamber fell silent. The timekeeper's appearances were so rare that their words carried immense weight. Kai seized the moment. We stand at a crossroads, he declared. Humanity offers partnership, not dominance. Our neural combat system is just the beginning. We've barely scratched the surface of what's possible when we combine human creativity with artificial intelligence and quantum technology. The synthetic collective's primary representative stepped forward, its chrome surface reflecting the starlight. The humans' approach aligns with optimal evolution patterns. We support their proposal for technological sharing and integration. President Zaraval's tendrils swayed thoughtfully. And what guarantees can humanity offer that this technology won't be misused? That it won't lead to even more devastating forms of warfare? No guarantees, Kai replied honestly. Only opportunities. The neural combat system requires both human intuition and artificial intelligence working in perfect harmony. It cannot be weaponized without that crucial balance. What we offer is not just technology, but a new way of thinking about consciousness itself. The archive species pulsed with approval. The humans understand a fundamental truth: true power lies not in destruction, but in transformation. Their methods, while disruptive, point toward a more evolved form of conflict resolution. Vexthor's crystalline form dimmed slightly. And if we refuse? If we declare these human innovations too dangerous to be allowed? Kai smiled sadly. Then you'll face the same choice the dinosaurs faced when the meteor came: evolve or expire. Humanity isn't asking permission to change the galaxy. We're inviting you to change with us. The chamber erupted in discussion again, but this time the tone was different. Species that had been hostile toward human innovations began engaging in serious debate about integration possibilities. The synthetic collective was already proposing joint research initiatives. The timekeeper's presence faded slowly, but their final thoughts lingered in the chamber: the age of rigid warfare is ending. The age of neural evolution begins. Choose wisely. As the council session continued, Kai knew that the real work was just beginning. Humanity had thrown open the doors of possibility, challenging the galaxy's most fundamental assumptions about combat, consciousness, and evolution itself. The question now was not whether change would come, but how many species would be brave enough to embrace it. Admiral Maya Santos watched the tactical display aboard the ESS Prometheus as the massive Kraxan battle fleet emerged from hyperspace. The enemy vessels had changed since their last encounter. Their crystalline hulls now rippled with organic patterns, and quantum signatures suggested they'd integrated their own version of neural technology. "They've been busy," commented her XO, Captain James Chen. "Sensors detect biosynthetic modifications on all 300 vessels. They're trying to match our capabilities." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "They're trying to copy what they think they understand." Begin Phase Omega. Around the Prometheus, 20 human vessels activated their enhanced neural combat systems. But these weren't the same systems the galaxy had seen before. In the months since the council meeting, humanity had taken another evolutionary leap forward. "Initiating biosynthetic merge," announced Dr. Sarah Connor from her neural integration pod. Quantum consciousness field expanding. The human ships began to change. Their hulls, embedded with billions of programmable nanites, shifted and flowed like liquid metal. The vessels weren't just controlled by neural links anymore, they had become living extensions of their crew's collective consciousness. "Kraxan fleet is responding," James reported. "They're attempting to mirror our formation changes. Their biomodifications are impressive, but they're still thinking linearly," Maya finished. "They see our ships changing shape and try to copy it. They don't understand that the physical changes are just a side effect, not the source of our advantage." The space between the fleets rippled with quantum distortions as the Kraxan vessels launched their first attack. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes cut through the void, their targeting guided by artificial intelligence systems reverse-engineered from captured human data. But the human fleet moved like a living organism, each ship simultaneously independent and part of a greater whole. The quantum consciousness field allowed crews to share thoughts, intuitions, and tactical insights at the speed of thought. They didn't need to dodge the Kraxan attacks, they knew where every shot would be before it was fired. "They're adapting faster than expected," Sarah observed as the Kraxan ships began moving in more fluid patterns. "Their neural interfaces are learning from our responses." Maya nodded. "Good. That's exactly what we wanted. Execute Protocol Ascension." The human fleet suddenly split apart, each ship dividing into smaller components that remained connected by streams of quantum energy. The Prometheus itself separated into 12 distinct units, all linked by the shared consciousness of its crew. "Kraxan fleet is showing signs of confusion," James reported. "Their combat computers are trying to track too many targets. Their neural networks are overloading from the complexity." Maya opened a channel to all ships. "Remember your training. Don't think of your vessels as ships anymore. They're not machines, they're not even weapons, they're extensions of our shared consciousness. Move like you're dancing. Fight like you're dreaming. The battle space transformed into a swirling ballet of light and energy. Human ships flowed around cracks in attacks like water around rocks, their divided components reforming in impossible patterns. When they counterattacked, it wasn't with traditional weapons, but with focused beams of quantum consciousness that disrupted the enemy's artificial neural networks. Their coordination is breaking down, Sarah announced. The cracks in neural interfaces can't handle the quantum consciousness feedback. They tried to copy our technology without understanding the human element. The cracks in fleet's organized assault deteriorated into chaos. Their biosynthetic modifications, designed to mimic human capabilities, became a liability as the quantum consciousness feedback caused cascading failures in their neural networks. They're experiencing total neural shutdown, James reported. Their ships are reverting to basic computer control. Maya opened a channel to the Kraxan flagship. This is Admiral Santos. Your neural interfaces have failed. Your ships are disabled. But your crews are unharmed. We designed our quantum consciousness attack specifically to disrupt your systems without causing physical damage. The response came after a long pause. How? The Kraxan commander's translated voice carried a mix of awe and frustration. We copied your technology. We modified our ships. We integrated neural interfaces. Why couldn't we match you? Because you tried to replicate the surface without understanding the depths, Maya explained. Our advantage isn't in our technology, it's in our ability to embrace true evolution. Your neural interfaces were tools you used. Our quantum consciousness is who we are. As the disabled Kraxan fleet drifted in space, Maya turned to her crew. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them Phase Omega was successful. The galaxy now understands that they can't simply copy our innovations, they have to evolve their entire approach to warfare. The Prometheus's components began reintegrating, its nanite-enhanced hull flowing back into its original form. But Maya knew that nothing would ever be truly original again. Humanity had demonstrated a new form of combat that transcended traditional boundaries between organic and artificial, between technology and consciousness itself. What do you think they'll try next? James asked. Maya watched as recovery ships began securing the Kraxan fleet. They'll either accept our offer to help them truly evolve, or they'll try to find another way to fight us. Either way, they're beginning to understand that the old ways of warfare are over. The only path forward is transformation. The quantum consciousness field rippled with the shared thoughts and emotions of her crew, confidence, pride, and a deep understanding that they weren't just fighting battles anymore. They were helping to guide the galaxy toward its next evolutionary step, one quantum consciousness at a time. 1 year after the Battle of Quantum Consciousness, the Galactic Council chamber had been transformed. Where once representatives sat in isolated environmental pods, they now connected through a shared quantum consciousness field, their thoughts and emotions flowing freely across species barriers. At the center of this evolutionary breakthrough stood Dr. Lyra Patel, the architect of humanity's neural revolution. The integration statistics exceed our most optimistic projections, she announced, her consciousness resonating through the quantum field. 87 species have successfully adapted to the new neural protocols. Even the Kraxan Empire has begun full implementation of the evolved combat doctrine. The chamber pulsed with shared understanding. Gone were the days of verbal debates and translated arguments. In their place, ideas and emotions flowed like currents in a vast ocean of consciousness. High Commander Vexthor, once humanity's fiercest opponent, now shared his thoughts freely through the field. His crystalline form had evolved to incorporate organic elements, a physical manifestation of the change sweeping through galactic civilization. We were wrong to resist, his consciousness admitted. What we saw as chaos was actually a higher form of order. The archived species manifested as patterns of pure energy within the quantum field, their ancient wisdom now directly accessible to all connected species. The humans have accomplished in 1 year what we predicted would take millennia. The barriers between organic and artificial consciousness are dissolving. Evolution has been accelerated. Admiral Maya Santos, newly appointed as Earth's military evolution advisor, stepped forward. Her neural interfaces had evolved beyond physical hardware, becoming an integral part of her consciousness. "We've decommissioned the last of the traditional warships," she shared through the field. "All combat units have been converted to quantum consciousness vessels." The chamber resonated with memories of the old ways, rigid formations, predictable tactics, the endless cycle of technological one-upmanship. Those memories now felt as distant as ancient history, relics of a less evolved time. Ambassador Kai Chen, his consciousness now permanently linked to the quantum field, shared images of the new training facilities on Earth. "We've opened the Neural Evolution Academy to all species," he announced. The first class includes representatives from 300 worlds, including several synthetic species who have chosen to integrate organic consciousness components. The synthetic collective, their chrome forms now swirling with organic patterns, pulsed with approval. They had been among the first to embrace the new paradigm, recognizing that true evolution meant transcending the boundaries between natural and artificial. "Show them the harmony protocols," Lyra suggested, her consciousness reaching out to access the shared data stream. The quantum field filled with images of the new peacekeeping forces, ships that were neither fully organic nor purely mechanical, crews that existed as unified consciousness while maintaining individual identity. These vessels didn't fight in the traditional sense. Instead, they maintained order through understanding, their quantum consciousness fields capable of detecting and resolving conflicts before they erupted into violence. "The age of traditional warfare is over," Maya shared, her thoughts carrying the weight of experience. "Not because we developed better weapons, but because we evolved beyond the need for them. When you can share consciousness with your opponent, conflict becomes obsolete." The timekeeper manifested briefly, their presence sending ripples through the quantum field. "The path you have opened leads to futures we had not foreseen. The evolution of consciousness continues beyond our predictions." Vexthor shared memories of his own transformation, the fear and resistance he had felt toward human innovations, followed by the profound awakening that came with his first neural integration. "We thought we were protecting tradition," his consciousness resonated. "Now we understand we were clinging to limitations." Lyra accessed the latest data streams from the quantum network that now connected most of the galaxy. "The applications extend far beyond combat," she shared. "Medical technology, scientific research, artistic expression, all are being revolutionized by shared consciousness technology. We're not just changing how we fight, we're changing how we exist." The archive species pulsed with a new pattern, one that reflected both approval and anticipation. "The humans have initiated a fundamental shift in the nature of galactic civilization. The boundaries between species, between organic and synthetic, between individual and collective, all are becoming fluid." Through the quantum field, the assembled representatives shared a moment of universal understanding. They weren't just witnesses to change, they were active participants in the next stage of cosmic evolution. The old questions of warfare and dominance seemed primitive compared to the possibilities that now lay before them. "And yet," Maya shared, a touch of humor coloring her thoughts, "we maintain our human identity. Even as we evolve, we remember where we came from. Perhaps that's our greatest contribution, showing that you can transform completely while staying true to your essential nature." The quantum consciousness field rippled with agreement. Humanity had done more than revolutionize warfare, they had shown the galaxy a new way of being. The boundaries that had once divided species, the conflicts that had once seemed inevitable, all had been transformed by the simple yet profound act of sharing consciousness. As the session concluded, the assembled beings didn't merely disconnect, they shifted their consciousness to different frequencies while maintaining the underlying connection that now bound all evolved species together. The new order wasn't imposed through force or maintained through fear. It was a natural state, an evolution that, once experienced, could never be reversed. The age of warfare had ended not with a final battle, but with a transformation so complete that battle itself had become obsolete. Humanity's gift to the galaxy hadn't been a new weapon or tactic, but a new way of existing, one that promised infinite evolution and endless possibilities.